On this Kia Spectra, we're going to replace the radiator. Reasons are it's crack on the radiator. And we're going to have to put in some bolts. Somebody put wires right. The first thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative battery cable. Then we're going to drain the radiator fluid. Remove the upper and lower radiator hose. The electrical fans. And the transmission coolant lines. And the radiator. Disconnect the negative battery cable. Set it aside. Collect the radiator antifreeze in a suitable drain and dispose properly. Now before you drain the radiator, remove the cap so it doesn't hold the pressure in. It'll be easier to drain. And where the radiator is located on the front left side of the vehicle, just look for the drain plug. You might need a Phillips or a flathead or anything that you can turn it. Once it's finished draining, remove the upper and lower radiator hose. On this vehicle, I'm going to remove the upper hose first. I'm just going to disconnect it right here and just move it out of the way. To remove the lower radiator hose is going to be easier once I get the electric fan unit out of the way. Then I have more space to get to the lower hose and the cooler lines. And while you're here, just squeeze the hose. Just squeeze the hose. If you feel any cracking, replace the hose. These ones, they feel good. They don't need replacing. Now definitely gonna have to do a flush. As you saw, that fluid was a little too brown. We're gonna have to flush the engine block just to remove any residual from the old coolant. And the new radiator, we just run water to it before installing it. Just move it back, twist it a little bit, pull away, and you can just somehow pinch it. It's normally bolts here, but somebody put the wire straps. You're just gonna break them off. We'll find bolts for it. Disconnect the overflow hose. Set it out of the way. Now disconnect the electrical connectors to the fan. the connector out of the way. It's a connector on both sides. Pull forward the fan, just pull up. Second fan. This fan has a connector hooked right to the housing, just separate it. Set it out of the way, pull the fan forward and clear and take it out. And just set it aside. Twist the hose just to break it loose, put it away. Just set it aside. Now remove the transmission cooler lines. Give it a little twist. Set it out of the way. And next, on both sides of the radiator, there are screws here, down there, and in the lower corner. Right there. There are the screws that hold down the air conditioner condenser to the radiator. Just remove it, but you don't have to move the condenser or anything out of the way. Just remove the bolts, set the bolts aside, and then we're gonna take these bolts off. This bolt, this other bolt on top, this bolt's a bracket, and the radiator should come out. Now we're gonna remove the two radiator upper mount bolts. Once you pull the radiator forward, you'll be able to lift the bracket off the radiator. Set it out of the way. Same thing with the other side. And lift the radiator out of the way. I'm gonna move the vehicle. I'm gonna clean my mess. I'm gonna flush the system. Then I'll resume with the installation of the radiator. The flushing, that's gonna be another video on doing a system flush. Now take note, when you take the old radiator, look around the radiator, make sure if there's any clips, air, foam. This helps maintain the air between the air conditioning condenser and the radiator. This goes right up here. You gotta glue it back on, right along the edge. And make sure the drain plug is tight. And once you got all the clips, nut bolts on it, then start reinstalling the radiator. Now reinstall the radiator, and when you put it on the bottom, there's this guides for the mount on the bottom. Just gotta line it up and then push it down. You line it up, push it in place. Now the next thing we're gonna do is put the bolts for the air conditioner condenser to radiator. The condenser upper bracket to radiator. Just don't tie it all the way, just snug it. Once you get all four in, then tie them all down. Now the bolts are on, tie them down. Now the next thing I'm going to do is install the upper radiator brackets. Just push it forward a little bit, fit it underneath, line it up, and just bolt it down and tie it. When you get both of them on, then tie them down. Now the next thing I'm going to install is the radiator cooler lines and the lower radiator hose to the radiator. Just make sure when you put the clamps, it's over the lip. You can feel it over the hose. Just so it's not sitting right on the lip, so it doesn't pop out when it gets pressure. Now I'm going to install the radiator fans. Starting with the driver's side first. Make sure this clips on the bottom of the fan line up with this hooks on the radiator housing. We're going to try to clean this as best as we can. It's a little better. Put the one bolt, just hand tie it. Reason I installed this radiator first is because there's a little gap right here. The other radiator sits on top of this one. Same thing, line up the bottom of the radiator fan with the guys down here. Once you get it in place, push it down a little bit, and there you go. So you can remember, somebody put wire ties, we just gotta find two screws for here. Plug in the coolant overflow hose. For now, I'm just gonna put the cap on so nothing falls in there. Plug in the radiator fan. Just make sure there's no water. If you flush the engine, reach in here, make sure there's no water in the connector. I'm gonna get the air hose and just blow in there just to make sure. And both sides. And just whatever connector you unplug, just blow some air just to make sure no water's in there. Once you make sure there's no moisture in the connectors, just hook the connector to the radiator frame. Start plugging in. Once you hand tie it, tie them down. Now when you replace the screws, pay attention that when you get a screw that did not come with the vehicle, it's not too long that's gonna hit the radiator. So when you put it on, just slowly put it in and just keep an eye over here. As you can see, I still got a gap. And then install the upper radiator hose. Same thing, make sure it's over the lip. And once again, make sure everything is on, tight, secure. Next thing we're gonna do is add coolant. And once you add the coolant, do a quick pressure test. I'm gonna link a video I already did doing a pressure test. If that's okay, then connect the battery cable, run the engine, bleed out the air bubbles of the system. Once it's all completed, road test the vehicle. Now I'm gonna add antifreeze. This antifreeze is for all makes and models, import and domestic. And install the negative battery cable. Gonna start the vehicle. We're gonna run the inside heater on high. Just let it run. Once it does its first cycle, fill it up. And once it cools down, check the coolant level, and if you need some, just add some. And once you complete it, check the reservoir, make sure it's up to the line. Do not overfill it, because if you overfill it, when this turns off and the fluid goes over, it just spills it out, and then it have nothing else to draw back in. So that's when people think they have a leak. Just let it run till the radiator fans kick on and then kick off. Check the level. And if it's fine, top it off. Add what it needs and go road test it. Before you're going to roll test, make sure you rinse it so you can get any spill antifreeze they got on the radiator, so stop steaming. Once you're going to roll test, whatever water is on the radiator will just evaporate and you won't see no more steam.